LRB.
All right. Welcome, viewers, listeners, and homebodies to the inaugural Radio Big Skies Pivot, Episode 1 with Peter Bedell, where we feature locals and their stories of change, inspiration, courage, and more. These will be aired on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. Check us and our schedule out on Instagram at Radio Big Sky. Like our Sunday night show, Tuned Up in Big Sky, we will not use the C word. Welcome. So, Peter Bedell, thanks for joining us. Our inaugural show called Pivot. And I'll ask you about Pivot in a little bit, but let's start with how you ended up in Big Sky.
Well, first, JJ, I'd like to start by...
Shall we?
Here we go.
What's your flavor?
I like the Red Lodge IPA.
Okay. I'm drinking some Philly Delaware beer, the Dogfish Head. Cheers.
Cheers. Good luck tonight.
All right.
So you were asking me a question. Could you repeat it, please?
Yeah, give us a brief synopsis of how you got from wherever you were to here now in Big Sky.
So I grew up in Keene, New Hampshire, and grew up skiing and having fun on the ski hill. And after I graduated college from Plymouth State College in 1995,
95, baby.
Woo-hoo! I decided to move out west, and my brother was doing his medical residency in Pocatello, Idaho. I said, why not? Pocatello it's got a ski hill, and it's got a college town, and I didn't think it was going to be that bad. Well, I only lasted about 18 months in that town.
I thought you were going to say 18 days.
But I was working at a ski shop and, learning how to become a ski instructor. And the great ski shop that I worked at bought us frequent skier cards. So you know what that meant. Little free skiing in the fall, in the beginning of the year, a little free skiing at the end. And after that first year, guess what?
Hooked.
Woo!
But
and I've been here ever since 1997, full time.
You were skiing before that back in New Hampshire, right?
Yeah, buddy.
You got a little history of that?
Yeah, I grew up ski racing in Vermont. I had a little ski area with 4 T-bars called Hogback Mountain. And then that closed, and I moved up to Haystack Mountain. And then after that, I ended up ski racing at Plymouth State College, which is Plymouth State University in New Hampshire. And then after I retired and coached a little bit, then I moved on out here.
Stay back in those reflection days of pre-moving out to Smokatella. What were like, did you coming fresh out of college, we all have these sort of visions or whatever we're going to do. What were your visions when you left Plymouth State? Before you came out here, like, what was your mindset like?
Well, my parents wanted me to graduate college, which I did, and they wanted me to go. I had a business marketing degree, and I found out that I didn't really want to go into the business field. And so I was like, let's try ski racing and coaching. So I started getting involved with that. My dad, after he, sucked it all in and ingested it and had a good old time with what he was thinking, he supported me. So it was great. But I was telling everybody, I was like, I'm moving to Idaho. They're like, what do you do? I go, I'm going to go be a raft guide and pick
Aspirations.
Aspirations came true.
So
I was a potato farmer.
Yeah, that's a little too much hard work for some of us. When you moved here, who was the first person you met?
Well, that's kind of a double-edged sword.
Okay.
Because I was sitting at Half Moon Saloon. Not one person here. Van Zam was the bartender. And there was this guy playing video poker. All of a sudden, he rang the bell, and all of a sudden, I got a beer stuck in front of me, and I'm like, what's this? This is a really cool place. Well, then I met Greg Hodge. Well, soon after that, I met Barry Balls Huckel. And within the first 5 minutes of living here, I met both of those guys. And I've been friends with Uncle Ballsies ever since.
So you're talking Van Zant, Hodge, and Barry Balls.
Oh, yeah. First day.
Legends. Still legends.
Woo! Here's to those legends.
So continuing on, your relationship with them is still fairly much the same, other than, they're doing different jobs and you're doing different things, but you still get to see them around, out and about around town, right?
Yeah, it's fun seeing Greg Hodge and his two kids and Julie, and my stepchild Ballsy is still around, which my kids call Uncle Ballsy, and Van Zam's still kicking around. They've been here a long time, and they've been here longer than I had been here.
Yeah, like family, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely around here.
Speaking of family, give us a little brief synopsis on your family.
One wife, two kids.
One wife, two kids. No names.
No, my wife is Lindsay Nicole Mitchell Bedell, married in 2008, and we have two beautiful daughters. Tatum Love Bedell, who was born in April 6, 2011, and Harper Grace Bedell, who we just celebrated her birthday this week on
Yay.
3/24/2013. Both great individuals.
Cool. Family means what to you?
Well, depends on if you're talking about parents or siblings, what you do for each.
Right?
I know that there's a lot of us that don't have direct family, blood related family. And so we lean on everybody in our community as part of our family, that's one of the good things about Big Sky is everybody usually can leans on you in any type of situation, from economics to, heartbreak to, whatever you may need. Most of the people in Big Sky, I'd say the majority of them everybody treats everybody like family.
Yep. What do you think so far in your young daughters' lives, what have you learned most from them? What have they taught you? Maybe not directly, but indirectly, what have they taught you? Because Peter, I've known you since you've had a family, before you had a family. And I'm just curious to know, like, I could list the things Elijah has taught me, but I want to hear from you. What have those two monsters of yours taught you?
First, that I don't have nearly the patience that I ever thought I did.
Do you really think you had patience before that?
I thought I had patience, but not for my own family or kids. Maybe it's a different type of, perseverance or, whew. I mean, a brother you can just get in a fight with, or a sister you can get in a fight with, but you can get in a fight with your kid, but you're supposed to be the adult, not the kid.
You are.
You probably know a little bit about that, huh?
Yeah, that's hard. It's hard to be the adult all the time. How about recently with them at home more than usual times? How's that working out for you guys?
Well, I think we're okay. I know that I'm trying to help out more with them being home all the time, but my job is I'm titled an essential emergency individual, I guess is the term, because I do help with the water and sewer around Big Sky.
Okay. Sort of switching in a pivot here. We've all made mistakes in our lives, and we've all learned from them. Touch on one mistake, maybe one thing that you learned a huge lesson from, whether it was growing up as a child, whether it was here in Big Sky, something that you can reflect back on and go, I wish I did this differently, or in a better sense, from that mistake I made, I've learned so much here.
Well, if it was up to me, I've never made any mistakes, but I know there's a lot of them out there that I've made. It's really hard to pinpoint one. You think back at the things that you were doing when you were growing up, and you're like, yeah, I did that. Yep, I did that. That wasn't very smart, or I did this. But hopefully when you're thinking all about whatever you did, from hurting your buddies or hurting a building or hurting, whatever the term is, that you learn from your mistakes. Maybe I learned, Christmas Eve, we were out sledding and I threw something I thought was going over my brother's head, and we ended up going to the emergency room. So, that action wasn't very bright, but it ended up into going, okay, if you think you can do something, you probably shouldn't do it because you can't throw it over their heads.
Okay.
Out here, I think just learning from everything you've done.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna throw myself under the bus too much. If you want to throw yourself first under the bus, I'll come with you. How's that sound?
This is about you, Peter. You reflected on it earlier about like what Big Sky, the supportiveness of everything. But like, if I say the words Big Sky to you, what does that mean to you?
Well, my first inclination would be family. The people that you met here, the ties that you have here. First, when I first met you a number of years ago, we didn't have any, of family of ourselves. We only had, family of friends.
Yep.
And I think the familyness, it's changed into a friendship and a family, not just a family. And, the friendship are important, but a friendship that turns into a family is very important because it takes a community.
Yeah.
That's one of the best things about Big Sky is, hey, I just saw your kid doing something it wasn't supposed to be doing. Oh, well, did you let him keep doing that? No, I told him not to do it. And I think that's one of the best things of Big Sky is, you don't just have two parents, you have a whole community of parents.
Yeah, I think most of us who don't have, immediate family out here, it's a huge dependent on like neighbors and friends and like, I think you hit it right on the spot. Those would be my exact feelings about Big Sky is like, we're one big family and we get through our things and we support each other through all the stuff that we all go through, whether it's positive or negative stuff. But that's one shining thing or silver lining that has become apparent to me in the 20 years I've been here. I do remember that first couple days I was here, Peter. You were.
Where were we?
At my age, I try to forget the particulars, but I know that like, my first few days here back in 2000, that you were one of the first people I met, which, we come full circle 20 years later and we both have our lives, we have our jobs, our careers, we have our family and our kids. But the great thing is when I see you or we see each other, I know that you were one of those first people. Because when you move into a town like this, it's pretty close knit. And looking back 20 years ago, it's hard to like, even as an adult, to like make friends. Like, I don't know what our students go through when they move here because everything is so tight and kids have known each other since birth and families know each other. But I do know that when I moved here, you brought me into your space, into your group, and I do appreciate that about you. And I think your sentiments of family and Big Sky is spot on. Speaking of that, I don't remember a lot of that time for particular reasons, but like, do you have like a craziest day in Big Sky or craziest night or like a story that would add a little humor to people sitting at home right now and stuck inside and watching videos and wasting time with us?
Well, I could probably say that probably the craziest day, evening, is I just moved here probably within the first, I'm going to say, month or two. And, when you first got here, there wasn't a lot of people. You could say maybe there was, I don't know, maybe a 250
200?
person hangout crowd, maybe.
Yeah. I say 100. Yeah.
Maybe. And pretty much it was like a high school kind of party. Everybody in town was showing up because that's how many people there were. And It was this guy, I can't remember what his first job. I think he might have been the paper boy back then. He's been around the community for a couple days. I don't know if you know Chaz.
Yeah.
It was his birthday. I think it was his 60th birthday party, and
Yep.
we were having, he was making stew, and everybody was having a good time. We were having keg toss out in West Fork. There wasn't many places in West Fork. You weren't really getting in trouble.
Right.
Nobody was racing through there. This is way back before they had stop signs. And Chaz's 60th birthday, that was a heck of a party. Skied all day, partied all afternoon. No, it was a spring party, so we weren't skiing, but we sure partied all day and
Yeah.
enjoyed that stew.
I feel like some of that has lost out of Big Sky in the last. Maybe it's my age group. That's probably it. But
no, I think that and that's what I was going to say earlier. But trying to stay positive with everything going on is, I think the younger generation look at things differently than how we looked at it.
right.
When we got here, we had to have more than one or two jobs because we moved here and we wanted to live here because of what it was. Now people move here and they expect that there should be housing and all this. You know, 20 plus years ago, it was just as hard to find a place to live as it is now.
Yeah, true.
The rent was cheaper, but there was a lot less people, and they're all vying for those same houses. Now there's a lot more people, there's more rent. It's still hard to find a place to live.
Right.
So, full circle.
Full circle on that. You're speaking about Chaz and some of the older, generational folks we know, or people that we look up to. Like, who do you think who's still in this town do you look up to or and feel like is a mentor to you? And then at the same time, who do you feel like you might be mentoring yourself? Like,
Well, all the mentors that I had probably, or they might still be here, but mentoring in different ways these days.
right.
I don't know. It's hard to say who was a direct mentor. Someone that didn't live here, I would have to say that my brother has always been a big mentor to me, looking up to him in many different ways. Great person,
Yep.
physician who cares about everybody else and not just himself. He's always wanted to be a physician since that was the first job he ever wanted to be.
Right.
Versus I was like, yeah, I want to be a truck driver. But people I mentor in town, I'd like to say people around the ski racing community and the soccer community, and just trying to be positive around the school, and always trying to give high fives to all the kids and include everybody, and make it fun for everybody, not just because you're there, not just to see your own kid, but make every kid feel special, like you teachers do. you know if I'd have to say maybe there was a mentor in the town, maybe I'm looking him right in the face, dude.
Hey,
Huh?
all right.
Look at all the things that you've done in this community.
I know, but this is about you, Peter.
I
All
know.
right. So recently I had an interview with Brian Stumpf about music, and I think it's a good transition here to move into some lighter things like music. Like if I were to go into your boom box or your tape deck or your CD player or your playlist, who would I find?
Well, I'm going to give you a guess on who you would find.
I'm gonna say Grateful Dead. I don't know, Fish, Jerry Garcia. I don't that questions to you.
Oh, I know, but I just want to think what you would. I would like to hear what you have to think. Yeah, there's a whole list of music I like, but if I was to say that there's some of the favorites, I'm definitely a jam band fan, hippie guy.
Yep.
But don't get me wrong, I grew up with Led Zeppelin, Who, rock and roll all the way. That was great music back then. The music, the Dead, Fish, Allman Brothers. You name it, I like it. If you can dance to it, I probably like this dance to it. But
How about nowadays with the girls listening to pop? I'm assuming.
I'd say it's leaning towards maybe like more bluegrassy type rock and roll. You can still listen to hippie music. You just have to be a little bit more smart in where you hang out in the crowd.
Yeah. I usually listen to my music in the truck when Elijah's not there, because if Elijah's there, I get hits one on the, satellite radio, and I'm singing along to all the pop songs, which I'm assuming your girls listen to too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You know, on Pandora, it's jam band radio. It's at home. Listen to the whatever the kids ask to play, they usually get. You
Okay.
know, it's they like listening to a little bit more of mom type music versus dad's music.
Well, as they should, maybe for now. Sports.
Oh, they'll grow up.
I know you're a former amazing athlete. I've seen you play some of your sports recently, but what were your go-to sports, and what do you like to follow? What do you like to play? What did you used to play?
Growing up, soccer and football until I got injured, and then I turned it to soccer. I grew up, started swimming, but I turned that into ski racing. And those are the main sports. And, getting in trouble, that was probably the third sport, if not the first. But nowadays, I really like, helping out, coaching soccer, both girls teams, and, helping out with the ski team.
Yeah.
Those are the sports that I were involved with. But I like getting the girls involved with everything that the community has here. That's one of the things. Going back to one of the things that you had mentioned about, what do you like at Big Sky? And they really try to get you involved with any sport that someone liked when they were growing up. They want to get you involved with it, from hockey, skiing, baseball, soccer,
Yep.
curling.
Curling. Big Sky's
Yeah,
newest sport.
Big
Yeah.
Sky, bad sport.
Um.
Did
Yeah.
you? I have a. Okay. Did you? Do you know what the longest or the oldest Winter Olympic sport is?
Um. I want to say like Nordic skiing or something, but that's probably not it.
You're right up the alley. It's curling.
I don't associate curling and Nordic skiing. Like, if I had a choice, I'd be curling every Friday night with you guys, but instead I get dragged out Saturday mornings to go cross country skiing.
Well, see, that's you got to put your maybe once you should be able to go out curling on a Friday night and still get up to go cross country skiing.
Right.
Maybe.
Speaking of that, and sports, and we're on hold with all of those. What are your views on, like, Big Sky? Up until 2 weeks ago, was changing in an amount that maybe some of us couldn't comprehend, who've been here for a certain number of years. But, like, what's to come? What's Big Sky going to look like? And now we threw in this whole little knuckleball. Like, what do you think? What's it going to look like in 10 years?
Well, it depends on what happens, with the economics going around here, and what happens with what's going to happen now. Because I do work for Big Sky Water and Sewer. Hopefully, there's one discussion with, hey, what about sewering the canyon, or sewering parting the partial canyon, and what happens now with the coronavirus,
No, see.
and what happens with the tourism, that maybe we don't get the money if the voters pass to upgrade our sewer treatment facility. There's a lot of different ways to look at it.
Yeah.
Say if you live in the community, but you're not in Big Sky Water and Sewer District, are you for or against the vote, the 1%? Then I've also heard, well, if we don't vote on the 1%, they won't be able to put all that development in the canyon. Well, we both live in the canyon. Do we want development? Not necessarily. It's coming anyways. They're either going to put in septic tanks or septic nets, or they're going to hook to a sewer main. That's a huge part of the change in Big Sky. The upgrade in the sewer plan. If people don't vote for or against and voice their opinion, their bills might double or triple,
Right.
double.
Yeah.
And back in the day, I mean, maybe this right now, the coronavirus pandemic might slow everything and make everybody look.
Yeah. And what's important?
You know, you were talking about music, and I didn't know who Kenny Chesnut was, Kenny Chesnut, until I met my wife, and I've been to a show, and I'm planning on going to another show with her. But I'll tell you, he said he's been going along for such a long time, and this year he has been able to barbecue 3 or 4 days in a row, and he hasn't been able to do that since he was in college.
Yeah.
So this whole society slowdown and distancing maybe is putting a little bit of reality check in everybody in the world, not just Big Sky, good or bad.
So that brings me to this word pivot. I mean, this show is called Pivot. And there could be a time in your life where you felt that you've made a pivot, a change. Address that, or maybe you can address Big Sky or globally. What's the pivot? Where are we moving? What is the benefits of being vulnerable in a situation that allows you to make a change and pivot? Like, has that fit into your life? Can you see it as a broader global perspective or a big sky perspective?
I'd have to say the biggest pivot so far in my life has been my wife and helping me become the person who, you know, I always had it in me, but she's made me a better person.
We've all had it.
So that's a huge pivot, in the community. I think that the first time, the 1% vote is going to be a huge pivot for or against.
Right.
Big Sky Water and Sewer has benefited from the resort tax. All of the community has everybody here in the community has benefited from the resort tax. Right or wrong, pro development, against pro or what is it? Pro or what? Pro or con?
Con.
For sewer development in the canyon. There's benefits for everything. If you're only looking at the benefit of the river, it's a bonus. But if people are only looking at the cost of what it's going to cost, which we don't know yet, that might be the determining factor. But I think, for being sewer dwellers, I think it would do two things. We'd get rid of our septic tanks in our yard. We wouldn't have to deal with that. But we're also doing good things for the river and keeping as much nitrogen out, but bringing that reclaimed water, recycled water back to the canyon is what we're going to have to do to be part of that. Going back up into the water and sewer district, or forming the district down here in Big Sky, down in the canyon, one could be a huge pivot.
Yeah.
The vote is a huge pivot in Big Sky.
Yeah.
What happens if the vote doesn't get voted down? What's going to happen to Big Sky Water and Sewer? Do we put a building moratorium on, or do we make the ratepayers pay for it, or a third party? All of these things are huge pivotal points in Big Sky.
I hear your passion. I mean, you got it, baby.
Ramble, baby.
This is a section I'm going to call rapid fire. So take a step here because it may be stressful. All right, I'm going to throw some things at you. Better, beer in a can or bottle?
For the environment, in a can. For taste, in a bottle.
Favorite animal?
Dogs.
Why?
They're very, very loyal to you. And that's it.
Favorite drink?
Lately, I'm going to have to say Montana Mule.
Nice. Favorite food and why?
Favorite food is anything Bibber cooks.
Favorite place to go when not in Big Sky?
I'd have to say Utah, to spend with the great outdoors and the in-laws. And
ooh, check. What's better, Friday night or Saturday night?
Friday night, because you got one more night.
Favorite bartender?
Oh, Karen Sebastian.
I won't even ask why, because we're probably all on that same page.
She was a great server.
She was. I learned from the best. Front country or back country?
Oh, boy. pre-kids, after kids. Right now, I'm forefront country, but before and after, and a few more years, we're going to be going back country.
Favorite song?
It's going to be right around the corner. We'll be going together.
Favorite song?
Oh, God, the one that always comes to mind. Woo! I'm going to say a cover. The Fish Does is Loving Cup is one of my favorite.
Favorite author, if you know how to read?
Oh, boy. Dr. Seuss.
Favorite candy?
Oh, chocolate.
That was
Milk.
easy for you. Favorite Disney
Toblerone.
movie? Favorite Disney movie?
What's that?
Favorite Disney movie?
Oh, God. There's too many to name. I'd have to do for my kids, Frozen.
Message it tells.
I'm sorry.
What's the message that Frozen tells?
Oh, God. I don't know.
There you go.
No, that if you're nice and caring, pretty much everything comes around. It's all about love.
Cool.
Love.
Thank you, Peter. Although, I've known you since the day I arrived in Big Sky 20 years ago. I appreciate this conversation. It's opened new doors of thoughts and ideas for me and hopefully for our audience. This is a whole new world we're navigating of uncharted waters, and I appreciate you taking the courage, finding the courage to join me in our first show of Pivot. And is there any last words you want to, tell the community, tell whoever our viewers are, whether they're here or far or near?
Well, yeah. Maybe it's a full circle around for me and you. That it took you, I don't know, maybe 15 to 18 years to invite me to go on EY 18, baby. Woo! But I get to be your first visitor to the Pivot Show 2020, baby.
I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thanks for everything. And when you need a fill-in, if you can't find enough people, maybe the second go-around will be better, a little bit better than the first.
This is great. I appreciate your time. Thanks for taking it away from your girls and your wife.
Hey, one person wants to say something real quick.
Perfect.
Quick. Say hi. Say hi, quick. Say hi, JJ.
Hi.
Hey, you. Wow, I don't get to see you much anymore. Get outside. Go backcountry skiing up here at Ramshorn with Beckett and Elijah.
I saw that. Is Beckett wearing green or is Elijah wearing green?
Elijah's got green pants.
Oh, I saw him trying to ski down there. Tell him to get his hands up. Come on, baby.
Dude. Hitting jumps, bro.
Yeah, the virtual reality world is kind of weird.
It is.
This isn't how I wanted to, come to it.
That's for another show, Peter. I'm signing out. Thank you, Bedells. Appreciate it.
Later.
And we'll see you next week on Pivot, Radio Big Sky. Nice. All right, recorded. Just under, we still had like 3 minutes left. Amazing. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. That was awesome.
How was it?
It was amazing. I just hope it recorded and it all goes to where we need to go. I'm going to work on that with you and Stumpy's thing and then post it on Sunday night his, and I'll post yours on Tuesday. Wait.